They didn't record most of the Beatles concerts, and look at how good those went. Maybe because of
Do you
it.
have space?
Are we doing this again?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, they recorded it. We're doing this again?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right, take 7.
The forest, they sing out in chorus. As our song fills the air.
Come on now.
Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. You know the words. Come on. High adventure that's beyond compare. We are the gummy bears.
That
You
ended
didn't
with
do the
a
high.
whimper.
We didn't hit the high note when
Yeah.
he does.
Is there any broken glass in the room?
Just kind of, yeah.
That's pretty
Ended with a whimper.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Nerdtastic in 3D, episode number 67. My name is Jason Carter.
Day. I'm Jack Clark.
I am Josh Labrat.
I am Sean Kearney.
Adam McFarlane.
We are 2 men down this evening, Sean Fennell and Jay Peck, who could not be here. But
Good
in their
riddance.
stead, we have
Good
someone
riddance.
extra special joining us from Dreamworks' Northern Campus, Pete Upson.
Hi, everybody. Can we do that again, actually?
Yeah, let's do it one more time.
we do
I think it'd be good if we do it one more
My
time.
name is Pete. Damn it.
Hi.
Pete, you work for PDI.
I do.
Which used to be Pacific Data Images.
Yes.
And
Never knew that name, by the way. I had no
is
idea what PDI stood for.
Dreamworks' Northern
It did not
Campus
stand for that.
in Redwood City.
Yes.
Cool, very cool. And tell us what you do, a little bit about yourself.
I work in the layout department, and I make the magic movie. I make the movie.
Make the magic, make the movie.
I'm working on Peabody and Sherman. I'm responsible for
Quiet you.
working on some of the Madagascar movies that annoy parents and kids adore.
You are no longer welcome here.
Exactly.
And
Move it out of here.
Have you worked on any Brendan Fraser films?
no Brendan Fraser.
Damn. Weak.
So you, before we did the take, you were explaining again how you knew Jason.
Yes, he locked me
Yeah.
in a dungeon for several years at Dreamworks.
Yep.
And that's how I know him.
So you started down here, though.
Yes.
You started down
Yes.
at the
for how long
campus
was it?
here in
Like 6
Glendale.
months? 6 months of
Yeah, you
pirate
did training down here
related
for about 6 months. Yep.
paraphernalia every day.
Yeah, I
all
love
over
the
the
pirates.
office.
Yeah.
I still remember your flag that I made. That I
You wouldn't
didn't
let me
even
put
make
up.
you take it down. I was just like, you know what that means, right?
Yeah.
It was what
Was it,
goes on board.
was it a swastika?
It's just a giant.
You
It's a
know what that
Confederate
means.
flag with a swastika in the middle.
No, it was
I
a-
don't know.
it
I'm
was-
pirates.
It was a small pirate flag I wanted to hang underneath our names on the front that
the
said,
front of our door.
"What happens on board stays on board."
Yeah, I thought people might be.
Hey,
able to
I just met
misconstrue
this
that.
guy.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it might give off the wrong. I was still single at the time. You know, there were some attractive ladies.
Pete was okay
the
with just
studio.
about all of the pirate stuff, but he looked at me funny when I wanted to put that one up.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, we got along pretty good, but I didn't want people to think that we got along
That
good.
guy.
pretty good.
Especially with the dungeon.
By the way, when are you going to come do Minnie's Moonlight Madness with us?
Probably whenever you invite me. 'cause,
Okay,
Yeah,
you're right. You're
Oh,
invited
you're
to
in.
the next
You're
one.
Yeah.
Wait, have you guys?
Great.
have
He
you
gets
guys-
invited, yet I
You're
have
invited?
been trying to do
I
that
was
thing
ho-
for the past
I'm looking
4
at-
years now.
I've known him
I've done it a
longer
few
than you
times,
have,
Josh.
and he's been wanting to do it.
Can, wait, can we talk about Minnie's Moonlight Master? Because
Oh.
maybe I went with the wrong people. Did not have a good
Oh,
time.
you went with the wrong people.
And was very disappointed
Were
because
you sure you were in Disneyland? Or?
well, you're at Disneyland.
Okay.
There's not a lot of people
Did you
there.
drink?
You're like, this is awesome. No, strike
Problem
one.
one.
But you can't ride any of the rides. It's just like a normal scavenger hunt anywhere. You just happen to be at a theme park. Like I wanted it to be like ride this ride and do something, and I
That
got
would
like
be
I
cool,
got
actually,
excited,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's what I thought was going to happen, and then they're like, "Oh no, you just need to go to the line and then just ask this person a question." And I was like, "Oh," and then we're gonna get on the ride, right? They're like, "Oh no, we're not running the rides tonight. You're doing a scavenger hunt."
Can I mention something really creepy I saw today at Disneyland?
Yeah.
So there was this group of middle-aged elderly women, very heavy-set women, that all had
I like that they're both middle-aged and elderly. That was nice.
That gray area.
They're not mutually exclusive.
Literally.
But anyways, they all had these custom-made T-shirts for this one of the pirate minstrels, Faruka, and they were handing out stickers for him. And then we saw them later with the pirate minstrel band. You know, one of these wandering bands around the.
Yeah.
And this guy looked so uncomfortable. And they were just hoarding around him and just like, Faruka! And like one of them had like superimposed Michael Jackson onto his face. Yeah, it was really creepy.
Fanboys of this band member.
Yeah, that, you know, one of these minstrels. I'm sorry, Jason got really uncomfortable.
No,
Are
no,
you a
I'm
Faruka fan?
He's like, I have a shirt. Is that bad?
I hate you
So
all.
not to. Yeah. Do you want to tell them how?
no, I was gonna say. So
Okay.
so you,
The layout castle?
you've known Jason a little bit,
Yeah.
but I think you've known some people longer.
That's right.
Man.
I talked about you, Tinkerbell. No,
You know it.
no, Jack and Josh, we shared the layout castle at Sony.
Is this the one that had the Bible that was left for you guys?
No, that was
What?
me. That was me at Genuine Games. We can tell that story later.
Yeah. No, that was good times.
That was good times.
That was good times.
We
What happened
we
on
shared
board
we
there?
shared a 4-piece
they
cube
got to
for a while.
They got to share my
So
my
funny-
opinion about customer service.
So, oh god! So if you've
Idiot-
ever heard me go, I
idiot
don't
customers.
believe you. That came.
came for a very long conversation where my buddy. Am I getting too off topic, or you want to
No,
talk about
no,
technology?
no,
and
These are
stuff?
good stories.
You guys were
That
talking
doesn't
about
exist in
you
this.
guys talking about masturbation a few episodes ago. So
We talk about that frequently.
few
The
episodes
same
ago?
episode of the Pope episode.
the Pope episode.
Pope on a
Rope,
rope.
rope, dope.
Pope mobile.
And anyways, my friend, this is back in 2004. I don't know if you remember what one of the biggest events of 2004 was.
Me
but
joining
it was,
the industry.
Yes, that and the tsunami that killed hundreds of thousands of people. And oh wait, no, I'm thinking of wrong one.
Natural disaster.
Wrong year.
Exactly. Was that not
2004
Pompeii?
That was Thailand. Yeah. No. What was Katrina?
That's 2008.
2006. 2006.
Too
I
soon
think
for
something like
jokes,
that,
guys.
yeah.
It's too soon for Katrina.
No, that was
Too soon for
this was
jokes.
this was before that, dude.
Was it before?
Oh
that?
yeah, we weren't at Sony when Katrina hit.
When was that? It doesn't matter. Anyways,
There was a
Katrina,
tragedy.
Katrina times.
No,
Okay.
it was
2005.
Katrina.
Sure.
Yeah.
2005.
2005.
Yeah.
One of my buddies had this great idea to go down to New Orleans, and it just happened to coincide with right when Katrina hit, and we were trying to get out of our tickets, and I had to argue with United Airlines customer service in India repeatedly.
No. We sit in a when I mean we sit in a 4-cube. We sit 4 of us back to back, and like there's one who wasn't even there. It was me, Josh, and Pete,
And-
back to back. Me and Pete couldn't lean
It was
back.
Chad for a while.
Chad's
Chad,
over.
Chad wasn't in there.
Oh, he wasn't in there.
And
Okay.
me and Pete could touch each other's heads. We were so close. So
Sometimes we did.
Pete's
Hey, what happens on
Ever.
board stays on board.
Stays on board.
Ever so gently.
and Pete's argued. So me and Josh are just doing our work, minding our own business.
Was this the first time, or did you? Was the Seagate incident before that? When I yelled
Seagate
at
incident was before that.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, it wasn't a big surprise that I was yelling at some guy, some poor. Actually, he was a dick.
And it's getting, no, and it's escalating. And Pete's getting points, and he's trying to be nice, and then you can tell in the conversation.
gets
We're just
more and more.
now we're listening. Me and Josh at this point have done one of these. We took
the
a
headphone off.
headphone off the
Yeah.
ear, and we're like, and we can hear Josh.
I better
chuckle.
turn down Kylie Minogue for a minute.
Josh's,
on behind
Josh's chuckle's starting to build a little bit because Pete's getting more pissed with this guy, and then his
funny.
chuckle starts making me laugh, but I don't want to look Pete in the eyes because he's got a war face on.
Well, I'm just trying to get this guy's name, and he's a supervisor in India with the deepest accent that you could possibly ever have, and I'm like, I was pissed at this point, so naturally I'm assuming he's not going to give me his name or any information.
You
at
had
all.
already passed the normal person to the soup, so
And I'm
you were
like,
on the phone with the
and he's
soup.
like, my name is Smith, and I'm like, Smith. Okay, what's your first name? John. Your name is John Smith.
At this point,
I don't
me and
believe
fucking
you.
Josh fell out of our shirt. When he repeats in the slow pause, he's like, John Smith, huh? And I fucking fall out of my shit.
But what was so funny is his tone when he said, "I don't believe you." It was just like, it was one of those things where it's just like, "I don't believe you." Like just very like stern of just like, "Are you shitting me?"
You kept fighting him for a while. You're like, you need to tell me your real name. Like,
I don't know
I
when
don't
to let
believe
it
you.
go. I don't know when to let it go. I have this bad history.
What if it really was?
He was
John
like
Smith?
banned from like
That would be
might have been.
awful. Yeah.
Maybe it was.
He was,
might have
yeah,
been.
the guy
poor
was like,
guy
"Oh,
was
I'm
like,
banning you from United Airlines. You're not allowed to fly or something, shit like that."
it got bad. Like, didn't
Yeah.
you like end up you had
You
to
got
hang up
banned?
on him, or he hung up on you? It was
He
one of
probably
the-
hung up on me. I'll
Wait,
bet he hung up
You
on
got
me.
banned? Does that take care of your ticket problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I
can't
did get
fly
it resolved.
ever.
I did get it resolved. And the Seagate thing, I fought with them too, and I got a free hard drive out of
That
it.
I remember. I remember the hard drive.
So
So another.
sometimes
Is
it
the
pays
lesson to be learned here?
Another-
be a fucking asshole.
Another.
Squeaky wheel.
I gotta tell this one. Another Upson story in the cube. Like DreamWorks, ImageWorks once a year has a pumpkin carving contest, and they will supply the pumpkin for you, and you carve it. Well, Pete got the pumpkin, And he brought it in our cube. And at the top of that Pete's cube on the wall was a long window. We had along the top of the building was just these windows. And Pete's shelf stopped at the base of that window, but it was up above. It was like a cabinet above. Pete got the pumpkin. None of us thought anything. We were like, sweet, Pete's going to carve a pumpkin. All right. 3 weeks later, that pumpkin's still doing
I
pretty
really
good.
like that pumpkin for the record.
Would you say 2 months?
God, dude, it had been longer.
It was
than
longer than
It was
that,
like
baby. How many months did it sit up
Well,
there?
we did
It
it
was not
because
6 months. It was not 6
Well,
months.
because we
It was damn near close.
the only way we got to it is because we were trying to rearrange things, like just for the hell of it, right?
Well, let's just say it might have stayed a year had Pete not needed to open. No, that's right. He hadn't opened the cabinet to this point. So he goes, I got to
Keep my secrets
I
in
got to
there.
move some stuff. He opens the cabinet. The pumpkin, I had no
just
idea,
deflated.
had been sitting in the sun, but from our angle, where it wasn't the sun, was fine. The backside had deflated on itself and melted into Pete's fucking drawer, and then down the wall. And he's like, you did it fast. You're like,
And it was just like it was all
He's like, I'll be right back, and he comes back with all this,
all
toilet
these
paper.
towels and stuff like that. It was all gooey and stinky, and
It was brown.
What?
It was
Yeah.
a color that like you never want to ever see.
And you
a
like didn't want to
vegetable.
tell us at first. You're like, you don't want to open that.
Do not go in there.
yeah, that was fun.
So let's talk briefly because I love this story. Before you joined animation, was Sony your first gig?
Sony was my first big gig.
But
yeah.
before you
But
even
before that was-
joined animation, you had a whole nother career path.
Which
yeah,
is interesting, yeah.
Dive into that a little bit. Tell us what you did.
Have you heard of Santa Monica Boulevard? Have you ever driven by there at about 2 a.m?
Trannies.
It was.
Trannies.
He's really a woman.
Nice.
This is a fake ad example. No, I used to be a cargo pilot.
In?
For the military?
Yes. Yeah.
For what branch?
The Air Force.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's
I
one
didn't have a pumpkin back then.
No, thank God.
and there's one story in particular I want to hear you tell, which is one time.
The sticker in George Bush's limo?
No.
Okay.
But that may be something we need to
I'd like to hear that.
Did you say an upper decker in Air Force One?
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, so there was one day when we were rooming together there that it was insanely hot, and I was complaining about the heat. And you said you don't have the right to complain because, and then you told a story about you flying.
Oh,
To
to
Iraq.
Iraq, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, that's not really a funny story. It's more like I just stepped off the airplane
It sucked.
and it was 140 degrees and instantly I was drenched in sweat. Just like that. It was insane. Like the physiological reaction was
But it sounds
just
like
sweat.
the same exact thing with the pumpkin. When you told it to me originally, it was like open the door 140 degrees. Nope, closed it right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
Nope,
Yeah.
not
No,
today.
I actually got off. I had a camel burger. I got back on the plane and we flew off, and that was it. And I'm like, I've seen Iraq. I need to come back. You fellas got it. You got it.
Now,
Here's all your shit.
You do have, though, a good story that I liked from when we were talking to you about the prereqs for this is any Air Force pilot. My understanding, the way you said they go. What's the process where they do the potential
Colonoscopy?
the torture? Like you need to
Sears.
Sears
Yeah.
training.
Yeah.
Explain that a little bit.
Colonoscopy.
Because
And
I
then-
found that this isn't funny. I just found this
But then
super
go into the
interesting.
colonoscopy training.
Right.
Afterwards.
That's after the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Were you
wanna know
trained
about that.
in giving or receiving colonoscopies?
Both.
Yeah.
Little column A,
Yeah.
Same time.
Little-
Human centipede.
little colon B.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Self-anoscopies.
Have you seen Human Centipede 2, by the way?
No,
If
but
it's-
I
if it's
like the
even
gimmick.
on par as one.
Yeah.
Then
It's exponentially worse.
no way.
Like, and then I heard that 3 is going to be even exponentially above.
I don't
that.
know if I told this on the show. I don't know if I told you guys this, but I have a couple friends on Facebook that are actors, and one of them posted a thing that she was like, I just read the worst Backstage is like a magazine where they'll post casting notices. She's like, just read the worst casting notice. They were casting for prisoners in Human Centipede 3. And this is what they needed you to do.
Oh, walk away.
The casting list said, we are going to be filming in real prisons throughout California. We need extras.
Strike one.
Yeah,
who are
that's
already
strike
in
one.
prison.
No, we need extras who can drive to these sets, to these prisons across the state, and you must be comfortable, and this was underlined, I guess, you must be comfortable doing the human centipede position, ass to mouth, fully clothed. But if you are uncomfortable with this, do not apply. And then it said, pay is $60 a day, plus gas for some of the farther prisons. No joke. And all I could think was
there
I can't wait to see that movie.
Yeah, was there ATM pay or
Yeah,
on top of that?
Like literally,
hazard pay.
literally watching that first movie. I mean, a lot of things run through my mind, but like I remember thinking that girl in the middle that didn't have any lines when she got locked into the middle, but is naked, is like she thinks she's made it. Like she's in a movie. Like
she was in Human Centipede 2.
She has this like moment where she's like,
Yeah.
"Yep, this is gonna be the launching pad. This is it. This is it. I knew I was gonna have to do some things I wasn't ready for, but
Yeah,
you know,
Je suis
this,
arrivé.
people are gonna see this. Like people are gonna see me in this and be like, "Holy shit, that girl, that middle one."
I just
She's
had a
it.
picture of her at the premiere, like holding her mom and dad's
Oh.
hand, like
Guys, I'm so good in this. I'm so good in this.
this is where she shits in my mouth.
Yeah, and then I
This is
shit
where
in that
shit
guy.
hits him
I
out.
shit in that guy's mouth. I really believed I
Have you
did
seen it, Jason? How many times have you seen it?
I actually haven't
No.
Human Centipede.
You've never heard of Human
sews-
Centipede.
Sews the mouth of one girl into the butt of another girl, so the poop goes all the way through.
I don't. That's not the goal of
That's
it.
science.
It's not so they do that.
Yeah.
But
What's
that
the
is
goal? What was the goal?
necessary.
I didn't see. What was the goal?
Yeah, what?
He wanted a new dog because his dog died.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I haven't
Well, no,
seen
he
the
was
movie.
he was
He's,
sewing.
The dog was the first thing.
Wasn't he sewing his dogs?
Right,
together
and
too?
that
Okay.
went down, and
Yeah.
something happened, and then he found these two just girls that are wandering in the woods at night,
like the
and
car
the
broke
Asian
down,
dude.
if I remember
Well,
correctly.
yeah, but you should just stay in
Yeah.
the car. You know?
Yeah, always
So-
stay in the car and always stay together.
Yeah.
The human centipede.
So moving on to E3.
Wait, we're not going to
Yeah,
talk
no.
about Salo?
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
still not done with his story, Jason.
Oh yeah,
That's
go.
kind
No,
of
we
rude.
go to E3.
No, I want to hear the story.
Well,
You looking at pictures?
I don't know. There's
Nice.
there's a lot. I mean, like basically, it's a week of survival training. Out
Yeah,
in the
you guys
woods.
got to hear this. This is pretty nutty, though.
that. Oh, are you looking at pictures of Human Centipede?
No, it's not a bad
This one's not a bad one.
No.
It's just a little ATM, softcore.
This is true. This is a good motivational poster.
Yeah, that would make me work harder.
Yep.
Human Centipede.
I
like-
believe in you.
I don't know how it didn't get nominated.
That's the best thing ever, dude.
Oh, I had the order wrong. I forgot it was a dude up
Sean,
front.
Fennel does cuttlefish so damn good. He's got it down to a T. That whole South Park.
I was crying that episode. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of South
Human
Park.
Centipede.
That one and
You
the
did see that?
Indiana
Well,
Jones
you don't
one.
watch any South Park, do you? Okay. So Sears training.
Sears training.
Let me hear about it.
So you were you trained in like selling people refrigerators and gardening equipment?
Mostly the
Ken
warranties.
Moore. Ken
Yeah,
Moore.
and wearing you look good
That's
in
where
blue.
the money is.
Yeah.
That's
And
where the money
it's
is.
tough.
Yeah.
It's tough commission work.
No, I'm sure.
It is
seems
tough
difficult.
retail commission work.
That sounds like torture.
No, the worst,
Honestly, working at Sears sounds like torture.
yeah, I have not worked there. But yeah.
Explain what it is, though.
Okay, so Sears is survival, evasion, and
Ropes course.
rescue. Damn, rescue. It's not, fuck, it's been so long. They put you out in the woods. So you do like 3 weeks of training, and they teach you how to like eat bark, and
Survive.
With
It's
your-
basically
yeah.
survival training.
That sounds
Right.
like Human Centipede.
light your farts, that kind of stuff. And then they put you in an APC with 6 people you never met before, and a camera crew. And no camera crew. And they put you out in the woods, and they just leave you there, and they say you need to get from here to there, and survive. And then at the end, they put you in like a behind enemy lines kind of situation where you get to the end, you're like, yay, I made it, and then they're like, nope, troop patrols are looking for you, and then you have to evade for another day with no gear, and then they capture you, even if you made it to the end, and you get taken to a prison camp, and you have to get beat and tortured and all this stuff, and interrogated, and
That's where the R comes in, which is it's survival, evasion, resistance.
There it is, resistance.
and escape.
you make me think
you-
that did I even go to this thing?
Did this really happen?
He's literally what he's saying was from the Wikipedia page. He literally that was a quote that was just right there. So he definitely read that.
So wait, so they like really beat you, like they hit you.
Well, they can't hit you close hand anymore because some guy had a lawsuit against them.
Okay.
But they can slap you and stuff. And the thing that got me was the torture stuff because I'm a tall guy and they would do tall guy torture to me.
What's that?
This is where I was found.
Tall guy
You're
torture.
tall. No. No,
I
they
mean, a
put-
short room with like low doors and
exactly. Like the worst one was I don't even know if I could talk.
I think
I
you
guess
can.
Fuck it. I'm
Are
not
you in the military?
You're not in the military anymore.
Be careful though, the government is listening.
I know. Actually, I heard
are
this
they
is
one of our
nice segue for
subscribers?
later.
Yeah.
Is
No,
the
this is
government
the
one of our
only.
subscribers?
No, this is the only thing that the NSA is not listening to. They came out. They said they're listening to all of our phone calls, but they are not listening to this specific podcast. They're like, ugh.
They're like flipping through the list. They're
There's
like,
nothing to
yes,
learn from
yes,
this show.
Nerdtastic, not for us.
They're too busy listening to Shia LaBeouf's phone calls.
Yeah.
What's he doing now?
What's going on?
That guy was so good. He's Mutt Williams.
So wait,
No,
so they
so-
put you
so-
in a small room?
Yeah, so they the first
Not
they
a
put you in this
room.
closet, and then they like just put boards in the top to like squish you down, and like just squish you until you're like just just crushed, down in this thing. And then they just leave you in there, and you don't know how long you're
Yeah.
gonna be in there or anything. And the other like big thing, like when you first get there, they put you in these tiny little closet rooms that you can't sit down in with like a Folgers can. And you have to stay in there for, I think it was 24 hours. You had to stay in there standing while they blasted like Britney Spears music, full blast. And they would check every 15 minutes, make sure you're not sleeping.
Dead. Like, make sure you're not like.
Pete's
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah.
Toxic.
Oh man!
Wow.
But the worst part of it for me was when they first drove us out there, they gave us each a little white bunny, a furry little bunny, and
A
I
real
was
one?
and I was and like I was like the
Wait, what?
I was like I was packing all the equipment for the platoon, so like I'm carrying all the pack gear, and then I've got the little bunny, just hey buddy.
Little buddy.
Did you name
And
it?
it was really cold.
It was Wilson.
I did not name him. No, I whispered Fluffy in his name a couple times. But it's really cold. It's sleeting. There's like 10 feet of snow, and we're hiking out to this campsite, and I'm keeping him warm.
And then you got
okay
to
there,
eat
Fluff?
Oh, he was dinner.
Do you want a peanut? And we get out there, and yeah, he was dinner, and we had to draw straws who had to kill him.
Was it you?
And I did not draw the straw to kill him, but the girl in our group drew it, and she was so squeamish about killing it that she was like hitting it in the head with a stick, and it got to the point where it was just bad. And I took the stick away from her, and I just brained him and put him out of his misery, because it was you're watching your kid
Yeah.
get brained in front of you. I was
I
like,
can't believe they made you had to get. Wait,
But-
everybody had a bunny, or
but he
just
was-
you had a
was-
bunny?
He was fucking delicious, though.
I was gonna say.
Best meal you've ever ate out camping.
Fluffy,
Yeah,
right
did you
there.
eat? Yeah, did you each have a bunny, or you just had the one?
One bunny?
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it? And it.
For how many people?
6 people.
Jeez.
Ate
And-
one bunny?
Some people didn't want to eat him,
live feed.
so it was like me and this. I forgot what they're called. I think they're called P3s or something like that. Are we not recording?
No, keep going.
Do we have to do the gummy bears thing again? Because I will. Yeah. Anyways, they're like the special forces guys that go in and lays targets for bombers
Yeah.
to come in.
Okay, yeah.
And it was like that guy and me were the only ones that were eating the rabbit, because everybody else didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Who skinned it?
Oh, we ended up skinning and butchering it, just the two of us. So.
Wow. Men.
doing man shit out there in the
You probably
field.
ended up shirtless because that's what happens every time I skin an
It
animal.
was too fucking cold.
But the best that
I
came
did,
out
I did
of
make a hat out of him. though,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah. All
It's
parts
like the
of the buffalo.
freaking Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder when
Yeah.
he's wearing
Panda
the
hat.
panda.
That's awesome. The best thing that came out of Pete going to the school is he obviously got he had a pilot's license. He could fly, and much later in life decided for one of our Vegas trips to fly himself, Josh, and Josh's girlfriend at the time. Hey Jack, do you want to come out? I'm gonna rent a plane, and we're all gonna come out to Vegas. I'm like, I'm actually just gonna take a normal plane.
You don't know what you missed.
Yeah.
But Josh and his
we do.
girlfriend,
We know what he meant.
Josh and his girlfriend thought, well, it'd be fun to fly with Pete out to Vegas. And
Yeah, sounds like fun.
Was it
Pete,
not?
I've never done
Pete,
it
why
before.
Pete, why don't you? Why
I've
don't
never
you
done it before.
trained in
Let's
the
talk
Air
about
Force?
You're in a
the
No, I think
Cessna?
we've told this.
Did you
haven't
rent
we?
a? Did you
Did
rent
we
a-
talk about the hilarity that ensued?
Oh, yeah.
Did you rent a Cessna?
Yes, we did.
The Stand By Me moment. that lasted for an
So
hour.
Pete, let's
see a
talk,
dead body.
let's talk about the reenactment of your flight.
Well, from my perspective,
Perfect flight.
Josh is sitting next to me, and he's like, "Oh, I feel like I'm gonna get a little airsick." And I'm like, "What was her name?" Well, we'll just leave
Vanessa.
her name. Okay, Vanessa. So Vanessa's in back, and then I turn around to Vanessa, and I go, "Hey, Vanessa, would you grab a airsick bag out of the back? Because I brought a bunch just in case."
Josh was
and
a
the
bitch.
flight out to
Well, explain Vegas like the air, like
yeah. So we were kind of low. We were below 10,000 feet. I don't know if you like when you were flying to Vegas, you get like really
Yeah,
bad
it's
turbulence.
like the
'Cause
mountains,
the
right,
heat,
or-
yeah, the heat coming off the mountains. So we were low enough that once we hit the mountains, it was about 45 minutes of just really bad turbulence. And so I turn around to her.
Shit, that was right now.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll get a bag for him." And I'm sitting there flying. What's going on? And I turn back around, and she's barfing. Was she barfing in your suitcase?
She's barfing into my basketball shorts.
So
Did you have the basketball
instead of
shorts
grabbing
on?
the barf bag, what's handy? These look good.
Whatever's there is good.
You realize those have holes on both ends.
She handed me.
But
two-
that didn't stop.
She
it didn't stop there.
handed me the plastic baggie, the Ziploc baggie that had our toothbrushes in them. She had taken the toothbrushes out, but I had honeycombs for breakfast, so it was this yellow fucking.
And I'm sitting there with the air vent on me, like,
And he goes, "Oh, that's right. Oh, I can smell that.
gotta land the plane.
I'm gonna do it too.
Don't puke on me, guys. Don't puke on me." And it went back and forth the whole way in, and it ended with her running out of shit to barf on, and just literally like spraying my arm as I'm like, "I gotta raise the flap. Don't barf on my arm." And it's just like, just puke spray, just spraying me as I'm laying in the plane. And we did like one of those kind of like those wheelbarrow landings where you're like, like and then being puked on, getting fucking Roman
Because
shower.
we picked
on
him
my,
up. We were already there in Tahoe. We rolled up to the airport. And it's like you could almost walk on the tarmac. I walk up and it's like a bad scene from Top Gun with the sun behind him. Just walking up, shaking his head, looking at me.
So
hey dude,
funny,
how's the
too.
flight? He goes, just walks past me. Didn't want to talk about it.
Like I was pretty like
Well,
once I had thrown up, I was pretty good, and then like
which time?
yeah, in the beginning it was pretty rough, and then like I pretty much puked, and I was just like, all right, I'll be good, but Vanessa was just like, the whole way, and she'd run out of things obviously to throw up on, and to throw up out, so she was just like. Like just dry heaving shit and everything like that.
Did you guys fly back?
Well, so
This is
when
funny.
we get
This
in,
is
when
funny.
we get in, I get out of the plane. Like PETA got out onto the other side, and she's sitting there just like sweating, and so like all the strands of hair are like caught all over her face, and she goes like, "Oh, I can't ever do that again.
Vegas,
I'm not
baby."
going home. I'm not going home like this."
Who handed him the beer first that instigated another round of puking?
So at this moment,
Guess
she
this
looks
movie
back.
I ever saw, man.
She goes, "I'm driving back with you and Susie."
Yes.
Yeah.
And you
Which
flew
she
back,
did.
Kojo?
Which she did.
So I flew back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
took
grounding moment for me was after they went to the FBO, and we're like chilling out, getting water, and then I had to go back out there with a can of spray
Yeah,
container
some disinfectant, like
and
cleaning
mop
supplies.
the puke out because I didn't want to come back to the plane after 3 days.
Oh, if it just rotten
sitting
in
in
there.
stinking
Yeah.
Vegas sun for hot box
That's
puke
incredible.
smell. Anyways,
So-
It's a rental though, so you just return that, right?
But we flew
big
back
deal.
and it was fine.
That's-
Like
you
I
got the
actually
insurance.
took like some Dramamine, and actually flying home there was like zero turbulence, and we were just sitting there and
I played this song for him too.
yeah,
That
totally.
too, yeah.
I even flew a little bit.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know.
you did.
I took the sticks. Thought it was a yoke.
It's a gutsiest
It's
movie.
not.
I
It's
saw.
not a yoke.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
The guy with the sticks was you.
Were you inverted? His stomach was inverted.
Why did you not get sick? Like if it was such a turbulent ride that they shook up.
Well,
So why?
I
Training?
Yeah, probably training. I mean,
And he's flying.
because I flew in Del Rio, Texas, where they would put you in a plane and like flip you upside down.
Plus,
and
isn't it that
have
kind of
you
thing where it's
pass
like
out and all
the
that
driver
Yeah.
rarely gets car sick? Like
stuff. And the
I don't
fear
think the same thing is true for an airplane.
and the fear of
because you're getting
crashing
tossed
the plane.
around in an airplane.
puking.
Whereas
The
a car,
fear of
you're
That's
death.
true.
You're
No, but I can see that you're not in
That's a
control
nail on the
of
head.
a lot
Pretty
of
much
that
the fear of
movement.
death keeps
So maybe
you
you don't.
alive.
That's
away
not
from
how I
it.
wanted to go out. I didn't want to
But
go
I
out
mean, like
puking.
this turbulence
And
was
a
like,
nosedive, yeah.
you know, if this was like the plane, it wasn't
can't get
just
it. I
it
don't-
wasn't just like
I don't
this.
understand that as an out.
Was
as
it
a
big
visual.
drop? Was it big drops?
Well, the thing is, it
Yeah.
would be like this,
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, we should have that on video.
and you're just like.
An instructional
It
video.
felt like you were like drifting because you'd be like,
By the way, by the way, your sound effects right now are going to be our new intro.
And for all of you listening
saying-
to
it's like I'm
this
saying it
audio-only
backwards.
podcast, what Josh was trying to say is as you were bouncing up and down vertically, you were also moving left and right horizontally.
Hey, there we go.
Which directly translates to
Yaw.
Jason's still doing the hand motion for our audio audience.
Yeah.
Oh, Stu, we're not gonna make. I'm gonna be sick.
Oh God!
Thanks, stomach.
So, have you flown to Vegas since?
No, I have not. That was good enough. The one time, check that box. Yeah. And I had this crazy idea, too, when we were all out at Sony, like, I'm going to buy a house in Vegas, and I'll just commute from Vegas, like, with extra money that I'd have, you know. fuck that shit.
Have you guys ever flown to San Francisco? Like that, the commute flight that's like the 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Burbank flight? Because it's amazing. It's like all people who do that, who
really?
Like 5 days a week, they just I go up to the Bay Area. Like we've done it a couple times. We have a studio in Palo Alto, and I've done it like 2 or 3 times where we've done it just as a day trip. Where I've gotten into work and they've been like, you should go get on a flight right now, go to Palo Alto, get some stuff done, and then come back. And it's like it's crazy because it's such a short flight. But every time you get there, everybody is like. They know exactly what to do. All their shit is perfectly packed in the bin. They've got their newspaper out, and it's like to them, it's their morning commute is from Burbank to San Jose Airport and then back.
Yeah. You're having your Bloody Mary in the morning and drinking on the plane and
throwing up,
whatevs.
Just get that all out.
So you want to talk about our day?
Yeah,
Mr. Carter.
So I picked Jack up this morning, and we're headed to E3. Which we'll get into. We'll talk about some of our impressions and stuff about. But Jack turns to me and he goes, so around 2 p.m., we've got something that we're going to be doing. And I'm like, we're having E3.
That was a long, dramatic pause to say that.
I was trying to figure out the best way. So I was like,
we got something to do.
Human centipede.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't tell him.
No way out.
So
you're the middle
you get
one.
$60 a day.
Go ahead.
So I was like, hey, we can't do anything. We've got E3 all day. He's like, no, it's just trust me. And I'm like, all right. And so he then proceeds to sort of tell me that DreamWorks is having a special event to promote their new movie that's coming out.
Turbo. That me and Josh worked on.
I worked on it, too.
Did you do stuff?
For a whole month.
And so Turbo...
He worked on it, too.
Where's the applause? Where's the applause button?
We don't have that soundboard.
Fuck this.
So...
amateur hour.
So they're having an event to promote Turbo. And we have a friend at DreamWorks who is in the world of app development. And they're...
Mr. Brad Herman.
And they were kind of tying this to E3 to promote the app, but really to promote the movie. And that's how it tied into E3.
Right, they have the Turbo racing game.
Right.
I heard it's pretty popular.
Yeah, it's doing really well.
Yeah, I've had a chance to play. It's called Turbo Racing League, and it's actually really, really fun. Honestly, it's really, really fun game. And so Brad had been involved in this app, and that was kind of their tie-in to E3. So there's this event, and it's taking place right next to E3. Mm-hmm. And so Jack goes, we are getting on a special list for this event. Special. I'm like, okay. And I don't really, it doesn't, whatever. And so then we get a flyer for the event. And the flyer says, mind you, E3, for anyone who doesn't know, is a video game expo where there's just nothing but nerds and video games everywhere. And
sounds like we're at a party.
The brochure for this event says...
Josh, why didn't you go?
Tomorrow.
The brochure for the event says that we are going to that there's going to be a performance from an A-list celebrity from the Turbo soundtrack.
Snoop Dogg?
So in the middle of E3, Jack and I got VIP passes to an impromptu Snoop Dogg concert.
Oh, my God.
At LA Live. And we are sitting
Which were like 10 feet, maybe not even 10
not
feet
less than that.
From him.
And my favorite part of all this is we get VIP passes to the Snoop Dogg concert. We're in there chilling. And free tacos, by the way. They gave away free tacos.
Damn it! I'm so pissed.
They brought the taco truck. You should come with us for once.
Yeah.
Now you have
I'm only going on Thursday because of Kevin.
Kevin should come with us for once.
My favorite part of all this is it was unbelievably warm out there today.
I mean, it was
really hot.
So and JK was there. So Jeffrey Katzenberg shows up at one point when we're waiting. And when I see him, I sort of smirk a bit. I'm like, show's going to start soon. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, the man's not going to sit outside in this hot-ass shit with his bald head longer than he has to. Snoop Dogg going to get up, drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot.
How many songs did he do? Because I'm sure
my
he did
favorite
the
part. He literally did.
People to people.
He did.
Parties to place.
He did.
Stolen.
He did 3 songs, was on stage for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That was the concert.
But did he do the song from the credits?
He did a new one. He did Drop It Like It's Hot, and he did, what was the other one he did?
Gin and Juice?
No, that's what Jay Pecco went with us to, and Jay was hoping it was going to be Jay. And all of us looked at each other, we're like, Well, here's the deal. We would never pay tickets to see Snoop, but this was pretty awesome to see Snoop this
Oh,
close.
hell yeah. That's awesome. This is the kind of stuff that, like, I wish I was down here for, you know.
Come back down.
Because, like, our version of Rap Party is like, well, we're going to get some circus performers. And you're like, oh, Snoop Dogg's
Not even a
coming
rap
by.
party. This was
Everybody
just-
gets to high-five Snoop Dogg one time. But don't look him in the eye,
It wasn't even a rap party. I mean, this was just an event that
That would be the best.
anybody could have went to.
That would
We
be the
just
best
happened to get
ever.
in.
Yeah,
No
that was
eye contact, though.
One high five.
Like,
You
if-
cannot go through the line twice.
Touch it.
That was really.
I don't know.
He will be responsible for making the contact. You just walk by with your hand
There's a
up.
curtain.
Yeah.
Put your hand through the curtain.
So that was a really interesting part about it.
Skinny
is-
black hands comes out.
Felt like a white man's hand.
About white.
Go ahead.
That was an interesting part of the concert was it was open to the public. Anyone could come, and anyone could get free tacos.
What?
They didn't announce it was Snoop Dogg till
They could.
20
but you
minutes
were in
before
the
because they
VIP
can't.
pit.
Yeah.
You were in the VIP taco pit.
No, anyone had tacos.
Anybody. We just
but
could
we
get in
had,
early.
No,
Did he make it rain like Dorito taco shells on you?
Don't
That would have
tease.
been amazing.
No,
Do
check this
not
out.
tease.
Cool Ranch.
So the funniest part about it was we get these special lanyards and these badges that say VIP on them. And
Don't show the camera. It's not there.
And the best part was
this
we
camera?
get in line to get tacos. They have the taco truck, and then they have 3 of the big like pop-up canopy tent things, and no line at that point when we were there. So we go in and we pop into one of the tents, and they're like, "Oh, you're VIPs. You need to go over there." And
Oh,
so
I missed that. They send you to
and
a
so they
section.
send us to the truck where we get the same exact tacos that are at the tent that I was just at, and I could not for the life of me figure out why they sent me there.
More
Like,
authentic.
You got non-cat meat.
I had to walk. I had to walk 30 more
Carne
feet
de
for my
rato.
tacos.
Exactly. Oh.
But he performed and it was very warm. I was probably 95 degrees out today. He performed in a full tracksuit.
It was
In
outside.
Clippers,
yes.
a Clippers tracksuit, which I was like, the chick before him was like, who's all for, the Lakers of Staples? Because this is right across from Staples Center where the Lakers play. She's like, yeah, Lakers. And then I'm waiting for her to go like, and who's Clipper? No. She just says Lakers, walks away. I'm like, I'm looking at Jay. I'm like, motherfucker, this is Clipper. Then he comes out in the Clipper Nation gear and he's all doing his thing.
But I will say, we go there with the intention of seeing all the new consoles and everything, which we'll get into in a minute. And we
End up
did
at a
this,
Snoop Dogg
that.
concert.
But Jack happens to get us into a Snoop Dogg concert in the VIP section in the middle of E3.
Bravo.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. Well
Joshua.
played.
Come hang out with your friends for once.
It's not.
What were you doing today, Josh? Tell
Josh
us all.
Josh doesn't do any conventions with
I
any
was
of us.
working,
He could have came
but
both days.
no, I'm going tomorrow because my buddy that I used to work with up at 2K Sports is flying in just for the day, and so I'm picking him up. No, but he is a big black man.
Okay.
He is.
Doesn't your pass get you in for multiple days?
Tacos?
It does.
He
but
could have went today too.
Make sure you make that man buy you a free taco.
Exactly. At Dos Bros Tacos.
It was the Dos Bros truck.
Oh no, bro.
So I have to tell a story, unrelated, but I just got a text from this. So my sister-in-law has a child who is starting to have an opinion. You know how the kids get to that point where they start to have an opinion?
Oh yeah, I remember I was with that all the 2 days. Yeah.
And so she doesn't want to go to bed, their daughter, and in rejection or rebellion of not wanting to go to bed, she throws all of her stuffed animals and pillows out of her crib. Okay?
She'll show them.
And so,
She'll
and
show
so
them.
they keep
Civil
going back in
disobedience.
because she needs it's their security blanket or the stuffed animal, so she needs them to fall asleep. So it's kind of a okay. So they take the animals back in there and put them back in the crib, and this went on for a long time.
A handkerchief full
The
of
other
ether
night.
will solve that problem. Yeah. I call it nap time spray.
I do them and then I do me.
Little ether trip to Vegas. You're good.
So this went on for several hours one night recently, and they finally got so fed up, they're like, fine, she can just hang out in the crib without her stuffed animals, and they just left them out there. So like 15, 20 minutes go by, and you just hear this, thud! And she had thrown herself out of the crib. And the way it was described to me was not she climbed out of her crib and fell, but she projected herself feet out of the crib. Like, I don't know how.
What, like
she
Fast and the Furious over the
Yeah,
hood style or
yes.
something?
She parkoured out of her crib.
Parkour.
Had to be said.
Were there like little baby crib sheets tied together to get out?
That would have been awesome.
Yes.
The Great Escape.
Yeah, we just put both of our kids in the same room, and that was a shitstorm of no sleep
Yeah.
for a week and
Hold
crying.
on, you put them in the same room or?
The same room.
Oh.
Yeah.
The same room. My voice.
The same room.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, I think we won't we'll probably do more wrap up about E3 next week because I know Sean, you're going tomorrow. Josh, you're going tomorrow.
Yeah.
Adam, you're going tomorrow.
Yes.
But for different reasons. What are you going to do?
I'm just going to look at a car.
Ooh, which car?
New McLaren P1.
Saw
it's
it.
Like
I heard about that.
It's like the star car for Forza 5. So
there's only 2 of them in the world
currently,
right now?
yeah, $1.2 million, 900 and change horsepower hybrid. So going green.
Nice.
900,000.
You're welcome, Obama.
Hey, I heard interesting things about the Oculus Rift. Did you guys see that?
We saw it. We didn't get a chance to use it. Actually, the other cool thing is Brad, who hooked us up with the VIP stuff, had a special tech demo in a hotel room for the pad we talked about last week.
Oh, no shit.
A Kickstarter. He was going out to play with it, and they had a Rift set up for it. So he messaged me as we leave. He's like, you guys still around? I'm like, no. He's like, the VR shit was amazing.
Really?
Is that the Omni thing we were talking about?
Yeah, he did the Omni track.
did the
He got
thing.
to go do the Omni track stuff.
What's the Omni track? Is it VR goggles or
No,
It
Omni
works with the Oculus Rift.
Okay.
It's basically a frictionless treadmill kind of thing that allows you to walk in 360 degrees. So as you're walking, your character moves and you have the
Oh,
glasses on.
sweet.
Let's talk about some brief impressions, Jack, and again we can kind of get into some more later. But I think the first thing that we have to
Okay, let's hear a little. Let's hear a little. Jack Nicholson. You said you were gonna do impressions.
Brief.
This is what we miss not having Pete here.
No, I said Jack Nicholson. That wasn't very good.
Okay.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I like that one.
Don't just say his lines. That's not impression.
There needs to be a performance.
Yeah.
So that means I need to talk like him, but saying what I would normally say?
Yeah, exactly.
So the first thing we have to talk about is the press briefings that happened on Monday for Ubisoft, Microsoft, and Sony. I think anybody who does not
There's EA.
anybody who doesn't follow the industry, we basically found out we finally got to see the PS4, which again looks like a box, just like the
Xbone.
The Xbone, and we also got pricing for both the Xbox One and the PS4. And
what is that?
The Xbox One is going to be priced at $499, $500,
Out.
and the PS4 is priced at $399.
Now, did you watch the Sony press conference? So when Jack Trenton said that whole thing about first going, you can sell your games, play used games, let your friends borrow used games.
Yeah, he said
there's
no DRM,
there's
right?
no DRM and there's no online connectivity that you have to have.
And then he backpedaled.
Yeah, and then but it was just one of those things where it was just like mic drop. And because I've never heard a crowd at any of those conventions roar and cheer for so long and so loud. And
I haven't got to that part of the video yet.
And then at the very end when he
Spoilers.
drops the price at them and it's $100 less than what Microsoft is, they erupt even louder, and it was just like done and just walking away.
Yeah, so basically the gist is that Microsoft, we talked about the Xbox One, and there's been a lot of backlash from the community is the best way to say it, from the gaming community, about some really unclear parts of the service, how games are going to be used.
And everything.
Yeah, do you have to be online all the time? Is your Kinect always on? What about the used game market? How does that work?
Xbox off.
And and Microsoft has been until last week had been very unclear and about it.
And so had Sony, too. Because
Sony was super unclear about it.
Sony had hinted at it, though, even before Microsoft's
Their
announcement.
first press briefing they had right after Microsoft's first one was garbage.
Yeah.
Sony's one was just garbage.
Sony's was garbage.
They showed like 4 games. And
they hinted, I think they hinted at the DRM thing and then saw what happened with Microsoft and pulled back. Because there is no way. Like, the way that they sounded, they were the first people to sound the sort of like, there's going to be DRM now alarm, and now they're pulling back and going, well, we're not going to do it in our first party games, but third parties, they're going to do what they're going to do, and it's like, well, yeah, they're going to set their shit up for Microsoft, and then they're going to make their PS3 game do the same damn thing.
Honestly, what I think I'm seeing, or what it looks like in particular, is that you have one system, the Xbox One, and Microsoft sort of lead to go, okay, we want to make this more than a gaming box and sort of take over the whole home entertainment sector, where the PlayStation has sort of taken the route of, we're a gaming device.
Yeah.
This is what this is made to do. Hey, it can play Blu-rays, but by the way, we're here to make games. And I think that's where this huge divide's starting to happen. A piece of me thinks that's also why Microsoft is starting to feel like we can sell it for a little bit more, because you're getting... We were talking about this on the drive over. Like, my feeling on that $500 price tag is you get the Kinect now.
That's exactly what
which
it
used
is.
to be $100.
Yeah. No, they're totally doing it. Like, I think the Kinect is what pushed that up to $500, and Sony was able to get away with not doing it. I wouldn't be surprised.
Though it comes with, I mean, Sony, doesn't that eye thing come with it?
No, it doesn't. That's
it
$60.
doesn't. Oh,
and I have a feeling they might have had a separate SKU in mind before Microsoft announced their price point. That was like, well, if Microsoft comes out at $400, we'll throw in the eye, or we'll do. I have a feeling that there were two.
Do you think
slides.
they waited that day?
I think they had two
waited?
SKUs, and they were waiting to see what Microsoft did and reacted. I just can't imagine another way.
The other good thing in the PS4's categories, they said they weren't going to promote any, like kind of like what COD was doing, where they're not going to allow any publisher subscription services on top of like the online content.
Yeah.
Because they're going paid subscription, right?
Yeah, you have to have PS Plus. But what I will say is I've used PS Plus a little bit, and it's awesome. It's really incredible.
So you pay for it now?
You pay. I'm not doing it now. I think I'm going to do it again now, though. I think I'm going to get it back up. I did it. They gave me like a month for free for some game I bought, and I was like, I'll keep it going for like another 2 months. You get so many like quality free games. They're just and I don't know if they're going to have to do that now, because before they had to do it because they had to justify why the hell did I have this stupid thing. But the best thing that they did with it was you could, when a new game came out, you could download that game to your hard drive. Brand new. This is a $60 new SKU that just came out. Download the game to your hard drive, and you could play it for an hour for free. And this was a cumulative hour. So this was, I could play it for 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there. When I finished it, they go, hey, do you want to buy this? And if you said, yeah, you know what, this is a great game, and you bought it, well, even if you bought it as a disc, I believe, your saved game stuff was still there. And so you could keep going. So I could try a game for an hour, love it, and then just like, yep, buy, and now I continue from where I started.
That's pretty impressive.
Or where I left off. So cool. I think for me the big thing is indies. I feel like I think it's wonderful that we have 3 different consoles this generation, as someone who buys everything. Like, cool, I got my Nintendo console to play my Nintendo games. I'm going to have my Sony to play Sony games, and I'm going to have my Microsoft to be my like living room whatever. The big thing for me is that the thing that Microsoft I feel is abandoning, or at least hasn't been talking about, is where's the XBLA games? Where's all that support? And where are all the indies? Sony brought out 9 indies and had them up on stage playing their game. That, to me, was the biggest slap in the face to Microsoft, to go, you guys built this. Like, Microsoft built indies on console with XBLA, and now Sony is taking the lead on that.
So I watched an interview between an Engadget author and Mark Whitten, who is the Senior Vice President of Product for the Xbox division, I think. And he, opening question, it was great, very cordial interview, but he also asked some hard questions, and he asked specifically, what happened? What's the deal with the XBLA? He's like, psychologically, people have gotten used to, if I want a smaller game that's pared down a little bit, that's cheaper, I can go to XBLA, and then there's also the indie games versus a full retail thing. Yeah. And I was fascinated by there was literally a 10-minute conversation, and he didn't answer the question.
Really?
But here's what I'll say. He that's not quite entirely fair. He answered the question by saying,
"Was it profitable?" That would be my core question. Is it profitable for Microsoft?
It had to have been, I think.
Yeah,
I think so. But his thing.
That's the only reason I can think of him not trying to continue that.
Well, his answer was that what everybody's stuck in with what they know right now is categories. That there's an indie section, there's an XBLA section, and then there's retail games. And he said that if you think about what's happened with movies, with video, with music, everything has gone digital. And he's like, this generation, you're going to see everything go digital. From retail games, totally available, like right out from the get-go, to arcade games, to indie games. He's like, we separated them out because by necessity for lots of different things with the previous generation. In this generation, you're not going to need categories. It's just going to be you digitally download games. And the Engadget, guy, he said, well, it's a psychological thing. Like, I want to know there's a section that's organized to say these are the smaller, pared down, possibly more indie
whatever
games.
you want to call them. Like, I get that everything's going to be downloaded, but also Microsoft has been the worst. Not to jump on Microsoft, because listen, I love my 360. I definitely want to get an Xbox One. I think cool stuff they do, but the one thing is that Sony and Nintendo have been better about day-and-date releases digitally. All that sort of stuff has been much better on Sony's thing. And it's like, where are the small, quirky games? Like, everything at E3, and maybe E3 is a time to show your big AAA shooters, but like, where the hell is like the weird Geometry Wars game or the Octodad or the Limbo? Like, where are those games on Microsoft?
Yeah. There's a really great article on Gizmodo that basically sums up, who won the console war. I think it's still a little early to tell, but
it was me.
They break it down. They break this down into categories that I wanted to run through because it's really well written. This is by Kyle Wagner from Gizmodo. The price.
He said,
The price, obviously, Xbox One's $500 and PS4 is $400. So the winner there is the PS4. The controller, which we will come back to and talk about in a minute. There's no contest it goes to the Xbox. They've had the best controller for the whole 360 generation, and they're just improving on it. The second screen, this is the Smart Glass versus the Vita. And if anyone here has used Smart Glass, it is an interesting idea, but has not panned out to what it could be at all. So I think people are saying, based on what we know about it right now, no way, definitely the Vita. So that goes to the PS4.
It's more like special glass.
Games, he says that, in the Gizmodo article, he says that this goes to PS4 simply because there are more exclusives.
I have a question about that. So, Last of Us and Watch Dogs are coming out for PS3, right?
Yeah.
So what are the big PS4 launch titles? Gran Turismo?
Yeah,
that is one.
That was the one
GT6
thing.
is one, but
the only exclusive game that I can think of that isn't all the cool indie games. The only exclusive I can think of is Titanfall for Xbox.
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts is
for
both.
Xbox.
For Xbox, Xbox is the only one getting Titanfall, the new game by Respawn, the former Call of Duty guys. That's the only like big ass exclusive I can think of. Off
What
the
about
top of my
Rise?
head.
Rise
is exclusive. That was there.
Microsoft.
I didn't realize
Forza.
Destiny.
I heard that one's pretty disappointing.
Destiny's-
like they got rid
I
of all
didn't
the
realize
Kinect
Destiny
features.
was
Cross-platform.
cross-platform too.
Yeah.
When I saw that at the Sony thing, I was just like, "Wait, what?"
So
New Forza.
the games,
Yeah.
the games when he says go to the PS4, personally, I don't agree. I think that's about a toss-up in my opinion. It seemed like both were getting really good games.
I would say it, except those 9 indie games.
Right.
And maybe that's just me, but I when I discovered XBLA, it was like, oh, I'm done. Like, until I started playing iPhone and iPad games, like, that's all I wanted to play were like quirky 3-hour-long XBLA games. And I'm just like so pissed off because I was so excited for like, what are they gonna do now? Like, is it gonna automatically download them in the background? Am I gonna be doing? And the only thing they said is, well, you know the ones you already bought? Like, yeah, you're fucked. You're going to have to plug your stupid 360 into the same TV because we're not going to keep those around. And I'm just, like, so pissed because XBLA was so good, and I can't believe they're letting that go by the wayside. I never in a million years originally remember they were talking, the rumor was they were going to make a box that exclusively played XBLA games and didn't have a disc
That's what we
drive.
talked about, right? It was
Yeah.
just going to be this small, like, it was going to be like the Apple killer, Roku killer kind of box that you could have at the house.
And that's what it was going to do, was just do the cable stuff and XBLA games, and I was super pumped about that. So I'm genuinely disappointed about that, and maybe they just haven't gotten to it. And truly, maybe that E3 is not the place to talk about that stuff, but
I think Xbox is missing a market share that, as a parent, I would like the only inclination I would have to buy a console right now is for my kids, and like I would like to see a console, especially using like the Kinect features, to do like kid games, kid related like stupid games. Like, you know how they had
Well,
those,
they did
those
Sesame
terrible
Street.
ones. Yeah,
They
they
did Sesame Street for the Kinect. I mean, for the 360 that's out now.
Was it good? I mean, did you ever play?
that
any of
one
those
was
games with your
okay,
kid?
actually. That one was done by Double Fine.
Okay.
So that one wasn't that bad. They did like a whole series of them. That was pretty cool.
Okay.
So, sorry, just continuing on here
Yeah.
real quick. So, raw power, this one I thought was interesting because if you line up the specs next to each other, they're pretty much identical. And again, he gives this to the PS4.
Why?
And I don't know because Microsoft has talked about the cloud computing where Sony hasn't talked about anything. So if anything, I would think that would
No,
probably...
Sony did just
talked
release a
about
thing
their
that they talked
cloud
about it.
thing,
Yeah.
Okay.
That you can offline processes to the
Yeah.
To the cloud?
To the cloud, yeah.
Interesting.
And Sony's box has faster RAM. They have like the GRR3 or something, or
Right.
Oh, yeah.
whatever it is, and
And I think everybody's like, I think it's weird that they aren't launching with this, but if they do, if that Gaikai stuff really works, and I have a feeling that by next year it has to, I have an OnLive box, and it's like almost there, but if they're able to do that and have PS Plus be a subscription service where I have access to just everything on my Vita, on my PS4, on my whatever, like, that's going to be killer.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be amazing if they just have a Netflix of games. Where it's like, and maybe they'll start with just PS2 games and PS1 games and PS3 games.
That'd be
But
awesome.
even then, like, imagine that. Like, I think that's, like, to me, that's like the ace in the hole, where it's like, that's the one. Like, once somebody figures that shit out, and it seems like Sony's closer to it, but again, Microsoft's one purchase away from buying a company that also does it, like
Buying
OnLive.
Sony.
Or buying.
Future-proofing, they give to the Xbox One because of the cloud computing, but maybe that's changed as well. Multimedia Center, Xbox One. Used games, obviously the PS4.
PS4.
Requirements and restrictions, the PS4. Social involvement, I love this. The winner is Lucifer, because no one should be this much social gaming. Backwards compatibility is the PS4. Family users is the Xbox One. And then my favorite part of the entire article is, hey, what about the Wii U? The winner is the PS4 and the Xbox One. They just skip over the Wii U.
Well, did you see there's like that meme, or not meme, but a little, gift of
The basketball players?
No, Batman.
The gorilla head and the flying lawnmower?
No, Batman, the Dark Knight Rises, and it's like Bane when he's doing his little speech to the convicts, and they're listening inside the jail, before he lets them all out. And he's talking about Microsoft, but it's just all word text that's coming up, and then it shows the people, and it's like, but Sony, and, are you going to let them do this? It's going to be Sony. And, like, they're all running out, and it's just like all the prisoners are running out. They're like, oh, yeah, let's go for the Wii U and stuff. And, like, it shows me, he's like, oh, okay. Let's not jump to any conclusions or anything like that. Let's not make any rash decisions.
That's funny.
I just wonder if it even matters, because it's such a vocal minority right now of people, like, to be honest, like, who gives a shit? Like, nobody rents games anymore. People want to buy shit online. Like, I think the DRM stuff, you're going to have a bunch of vocal nerds that understand it, but your average Joe who's just playing Call of Duty and Madden, he doesn't know what the hell that is. I mean, to him, like, maybe he'll get the PlayStation because it's cheaper. But even, like, now I feel like with iPads, like, the cheapest iPad's $500. I feel like $500 is meaningless. Whereas in 05 or 06, whenever the PlayStation and the Xbox came out, the difference was most game consoles up until that point had been $300. Xbox comes out and has a $300 and $400 model, and it's like, whoa, they're kind of high. And then PlayStation goes, oh, we've got a $500 and a $600 one. I feel like now, like, the difference of $100 is just kind of like,
That 600 model though, like, broke them. That was like their worst move.
But that was twice what the PS2 had cost. Like, it was crazy, the difference.
Sure.
Now
That's
it's
one I
like,
bought, too.
That's what an iPad
The
is.
expensive one? I might have got the $500
We were rich.
one.
So there's two sort of revelations, I guess,
Sides to the
epiphanies
story?
that I've had this week. The first one is more of a question mark about.
Will I
You
be
guys-
in Human Centipede 3?
Yes, you guys know I'm
You
the
get
biggest,
gas money if you go farther than Los Angeles.
I like it.
Outside the 30-mile zone.
Yeah.
You guys know that I am probably the biggest Microsoft fanboy here.
What?
Love their product.
But you're buying a PS4.
I won't. Mainly,
It looked way more enticing, though.
I won't.
I gotta finish the video. I'm not sold yet, but there are games like Ubisoft's thing. I'm gonna let you finish talking.
I just have to say, I'm really shocked at Microsoft, mainly because the price point one is the one that fascinates me the most, because we have clear historical data from the last generation that points to the PS3 had it was at $500 and $600 if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And the Xbox was at 300 and
and
$400, and it it destroyed the PS3 early on. PS3 caught up a little bit, and then towards the end, again, Microsoft, the Xbox blew up. So, if you look at what data has taught us, it's that there's a clear dollar amount that consumers are going to pay for consoles, and that this is the range that's been successful. And here we are, the next generation, and Microsoft they've flipped. Microsoft, it's like they didn't learn anything. They didn't look at the previous generation. They didn't say, hey, we need to hit that mark or below it or something like that, whereas clearly Sony learned their lesson. And I don't get that.
But it kind of feels like they're trying to compete more with Apple and like Apple TV and that sort of thing versus trying to compete with Sony, and be this multimedia
Well, Apple
thing.
TV is $100.
Well, but
You
I
know what I
will
mean?
say we haven't
Well, that's
heard.
not very good competition.
We haven't.
You're skewed a bit.
strike one, Microsoft.
I think that they're still going to do. I think they're still going to subsidize it. I'm surprised they didn't bring it up at E3, but I still think that
Like
might
how so?
be their thing.
Like a cheaper version?
No, what they'll do is they'll go,
Corn
hey,
subsidies?
$200, and you subscribe to Xbox Live for 2 years. Or whatever. Like, they already have started doing that with the Xbox 360. You end up getting fucked going that way. Because they
Pay
charge
so
you.
much for the-
Yeah. Like,
They
right
charge
now,
you
you
like
can
$15
for
a month.
$50.
Yeah, instead of
Yeah.
the yearly fee, they charge you the monthly.
They
fee,
charge you the
which
monthly fee,
nobody
and their
did.
yearly fee is already more than just like what you can find at a Best Buy for one of those cards. So you'll get fucked in that respect, but at least they'll be able to advertise it as, oh yeah, they're $400, we're $300.
Well,
With,
and that's the power behind the Xbox One anyways now. I mean, really, I think it is in the 360, but I think now even more so with this new, you almost have to have a live account, right?
Yeah.
I mean, behind it, it's almost you can't.
That's what
it's
it
going to
is,
be kind of
yeah.
useless without a live account. So,
But I do like how they've separated themselves. Like, I really think it's interesting now that it's not just Sega and Nintendo, where Sega and Nintendo was all exclusives. They tried to do Sega was Attitude and Nintendo was this. But it was really just pretty straightforward. It was just yeah, these guys have these games, these guys have these games. Now the games are almost coming to everything because it's too expensive not to do that. And so what you have is well, then why would I get both? And there wouldn't be a reason. You just go, honestly, I'd get the Xbox because it has a better controller probably at that point. But with this one, they go, well, the core game stuff is on PlayStation, and the Xbox is for all your home media, TV, all that crazy shit. We're going to try and revolutionize that. And then the Wii is that kid's system, maybe. And then also is for the hardcore Nintendo players, they're the last holdout of, you want to play Nintendo games? Buy a Nintendo system. They're like the Apple going, hey, you know what? You can get Windows on anything, but you want to use Final Cut? Fuck you.
Yeah, right.
Use our thing.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm really disappointed, honestly. As a big Microsoft fanboy, I'm genuinely really disappointed.
Buy a PC.
Can't convince me. But so the second thing, I've been thinking a lot about you this week because I realized.
What kind of podcast is this?
Yeah.
How's this end?
What happens on board stays on board.
Exactly. I realized that in watching the press briefings and seeing Battlefield 4, seeing Call of Duty from a couple weeks ago, seeing Titanfall, seeing walking the show floor,
Destiny.
they are all the same exact thing.
Did you see this game up here? Dragon Crown?
Yes.
This bad boy on the back here, Shin Magima Tensui? Tensei? Did I say that right?
But
Enunciation was a little bit off, but I think you nailed it. I think you
I-
almost there.
and
Did
I
they
was-
look good?
I was thinking about my own personal taste, and I will always buy a Halo game if I have the means to play it. Always do that. Just that's my franchise. I love that. But I
will not play with anyone online.
yes, ever. It's true. But I was
We'll
thinking.
ignore your invites.
I was thinking about. That's not true. I played.
One night.
Yeah, you did
One
Spartan
night.
Ops once.
One magical night.
I'm in. Let's do it. Spartan Ops. It's on. Did you guys finish it?
No.
Done. Let's do it. So, but I was thinking about it, and the games that I'm finding more intriguing, more interesting, and I'm like, if I'm faced with, oh, I want to go put my energy in here versus here, they're XBLA games. They're The Walking Dead, The Cave. They're some of them are oh, this is a nostalgic throwback to this type of game. Some of them are new experiences. But the games I'm really into are really just not the same recycled garbage over and over again. Now, you could easily argue that Halo is the same recycled garbage. That's fine. I'll give you that. But I'm just looking at everything. And I was telling Jack earlier today, if you put Battlefield, Titanfall, COD, and then there was another one that we saw today, all next to each other without telling me anything about any of them. I honestly, and I'm 100% genuine, could not, and I'm a big fan of the game industry, could not tell you the difference between them.
No.
Titanfall, maybe just because they're big mechs, but then I might be, maybe this is Future Soldier, Call of Duty Future Soldier.
But like the graphics with Titanfall look like a 360 game, personally to me.
Yeah, and the Battlefield 4 has more dubstep.
I'm so bored. Like, you know what I want? I want Portal 3. Mm-hmm. Like, that game is revolutionary. I want something that's, like, fun and different, and I don't want this, like, hey, guess what? We're doing another Call of Duty again, or whatever. And even to the point where I'm like, maybe even the next, Halo game should have a little bit of variety to it. And I like first-person shooters.
Maybe I'm a big hippie with all this, but I'm like, there's a place for everything.
I was just saying, I want more Call of Duty.
No, and that's the thing. Is like I've had such a good time playing Blobs 2. Like every once in a while, like I dig going into one of those games, but it's just I think that there's just got to be room for variety. And what's happening is that as games get more and more expensive, I feel like everything's going more and more mainstream and getting safer and safer, and so everything is starting to look like everything else because that's the safe bet. That's the safe bet.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with some of the like the fucking Battlefield trailer where they're shooting planes and knocking them into people. I was like, that's weird. That's amazing. Like that's crazy. And I'm excited about that. And even with Titanfall, my only thing with Titanfall was I was like, those guys must love making first-person shooters because if I'm in their case, and they're multi-millionaires now, they start a new company, the last thing I'd want to do is make the game that I've been making for so many years.
But that's what's made them so much money.
Yeah, but to them they kind of did. It was, we want to make this, but to me what I liked about that is they took 3 genres, and they didn't say, okay, we're just not going to do another fighter, we're going to do a fighter where you can run on walls and you can call in a mech and you can do all this crap. You have a jetpack and I think they sort of, for them in particular, they twisted, and for me even, they sort of twisted it on the head as far as adding a bunch of styles of gameplay to something that was kind of, we always talk about in here, and the biggest gripe from you guys, we talk about COD. There's no intervention. They're not really adding more to it. It's just, it's
can I
fun.
ask you, how many of you guys finished the last 2 COD campaigans? Did you play them?
I did not this last one, but the one before it.
I didn't even crack the one. The current one.
I got stuck. I got stuck on one level. And
for me to actually play like a single player game nowadays, it has to be like head and above different, and in some sort of way, like BioShock Infinite or Tomb Raider, the reboot. It's got to be really highly rated if I'm going to put that much time into something, and it's got to be really. It has to have something that's different.
Yeah.
Or a really good story or something like that. Because like, not only is it kind of lonely playing games alone, like not socially. My time is precious now. It's like I got like an hour, maybe 2 hours to game a night.
Well, and that's the beauty of multiplayer, right? Well, they can't really, because you can do it for 2 hours and go to bed.
It's funny you say that. I can't tell you how many times it's popped into my head of, okay, finally everybody's gone to bed, wife included, and it's finally time where I could put in a game, and I'm like, there's about an hour and a half before I need to go to bed. Nope, I need more time than that to get into a first person or a campaign.
Or like I'll be playing the game, I'll be like, oh, I could be more awake for my kids in the morning if I just go to bed. No, fuck it. I got to get this crate. This crate might have something in it. Nope, nothing.
Sure enough.
Oh, cats in the cradle and the silver spoon.
So yeah, I think
my daughter's knocking on the downstairs door. I'm hungry. I want breakfast.
One more crate.
I just shove a bowl of cereal out the cat door.
So I think that definitely there is. I think you're spot on, Sean. People are either seeing how expensive games are now, or seeing the success level that COD has had.
That's what I was going to say. I think they're
trying to chase that.
They put the nail on the head with that. It's made more than anything else, media-wise, ever. And if you're anybody, you're like, well, especially probably EA, and particularly with Battlefield, we need to do what they're doing. This is clearly making billions of dollars.
And it's everywhere. It's funny. My wife is way into like musical theater, and so we were at a restaurant. The Tony Awards were on, and I looked up a couple times.
That intro was amazing.
I didn't know there was no volume on anything, so I just kind of looked up a couple times. But every musical was based on a movie, And like shitty movies. They were based on Bring It On.
Newsies is not bad.
Not a bad movie. Not a great movie.
Which
That's
Bring It
a
On?
great
Which
movie.
one?
All or Nothing. No, but so I mean, they're basing these musicals on these movies that Legally Blonde, Bring It On, and I was like, why are they doing that? And she was like, well, no one's gonna go see something that's new. It's too risky to do a new musical. Like already, that's a budget that's $200 million, and it takes 6 months to put together. No one's gonna see it. Like you'll go and see Book of Mormon because it's got Matt Stone and Trey Parker from South Park. How are you gonna go see?
What about Wicked?
Wicked's established.
Spider-Man?
There are exceptions to every rule, but still, Wicked is
Far and
Wizard of
few
Oz.
far
It
and
was
few
based on a
between.
really popular book. But I mean, they're getting to the point where they're doing shit like Bring It On because it's like it's the same exact thing of like, well, that's safe. Like you go, well, Bring It On made X amount of dollars, and then we can sell tickets for this much. So this plus this must equal that.
worked
And I
out
think that
amazing
that's
for Shrek
becoming
the
the
musical.
problem. The bigger the budget,
Or Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah, there's
That was a disaster.
yeah. But that's the thing is
Are
like
both
all
those
those come
closed
from
now?
that place.
Are they both closed now? Those shows?
Spider-Man is.
Spider-Man is, and I believe Shrek
Did someone
is too.
die on Spider-Man, like in the back? Like
I
one
just
of the
remember. I
stage
just remember like
hands?
the,
I feel like it was.
the inflatable guy coming out on the David Letterman
No,
show.
this-
That looked like you ever see that clip, that sports clip of like the Raptor guy that comes running out from behind the basketball hoop and then trips and falls on his face.
So good.
It looked like the lizard guy looked
So
like
good.
that guy. Anyways,
There's two other things that we got to try out today that were both
PCP
really impressive.
at the Activision booths.
Still coming down from that.
The first is
You guys want some angel dust?
I think
Play Splinter Cell.
I didn't know how you like get wet.
I'm not going to let you say what you're going to say.
this has been a bad podcast for that. This really has.
I blame myself.
So the Xbox 360 controller, I think, has been pretty universally accepted as the best gaming controller out there. And so I think there's a lot of people that were like...
I prefer a potato.
I think there are a lot of people out there who are like, why mess with something at all? What was wrong with something that's perfect, you know? But so Jack and I had a chance to play with the Xbox One controller today. And it's awesome.
What game did you play?
It's awesome. So at first we actually didn't play a game. We played a tech demo that they had up where it was just like 6 different, micro little things. Like pull a trigger and it'll show a car tire going and it'll simulate brakes. But this was entirely
Exciting.
entirely to see.
I'll play that game.
Scintillating.
There's the feedback in the triggers that are now on there.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was the vibrating motors, haptic feedback or whatever it's called, not haptic. Whatever.
Force feedback.
Force feedback, thank you. In the handles, and now they have them in two little ones in the triggers as well. And so you got to see different elements of that, like really extreme where they're going like crazy, like a helicopter taking off, or like if you're pressing the gas on a car and the engine starts to go. It's not just like you don't feel it in the palm of your hand, you feel it throughout your whole entire hand. And the press has been like talking about this as like, wow, it's really, truly awesome, and we didn't think something so simple would be so. It is amazing.
Did you do the gun thing too, where it vibrated when you pulled the trigger?
I did both those. What was really cool though is they had a human that you scrolled through by holding it down, and it had a heartbeat, and you could sense the heartbeat through the triggers. And he was talking about playing sniper games, like if you're holding your breath. When you hold your breath, it still gives off a little bit from your heart. And what's even crazier is when he talked about how the fucking Kinect ties into that. The Kinect picks up your heat signature on your face that actually tracks your heartbeat, and they could tie the developer designs it. They could tie that back into the fucking trigger, pick up your heartbeat on the controller.
Play it for real.
Dude,
Well, so
it was
the
crazy. I was like, what?
the guy was saying, he's like, it would be very easy.
Yeah, just put like one of those like spa cooling things on your face.
Yeah, trick the system.
The guy was saying it would be very easy for a developer to program in a heartbeat. Like for the Kinect, it uses the active IR is what it's called to see the heat in your blood flow to sense your pulse, and so it could see how fast your heart rate was, and then it could simulate that heartbeat like you're saying in the triggers. But then what I thought was a fascinating idea was if you slightly speed up the feedback in the triggers, you could actually speed up someone's heart rate.
Because they're trying to keep in line with that?
Just subtly, like your brain tries to keep. And so it was like this idea of like in like a horror game, you could increase, like if there's a dark hallway,
that's awesome.
you could slowly increase someone's like heart rate so you physically feel it more.
They should make a Predator game with the thermal vision.
dude,
Right?
I was like,
nuts.
that's a crazy
They
idea.
also talked about, because there's 4 in there now, what they can do is do spatially on your controller.
That's cool.
So they showed a helicopter, and it's like if you went one way, like it would separate where the vibrations were coming from in the controller to simulate that. That's pretty. I mean, it still feels good. I gave him some feedback. I gave the marketing guy. I'm like, you need buttons underneath. You need 2 small buttons underneath. This is getting retarded. Because they sell aftermarket ones for the 360 scuff controllers mostly for COD and Halo players to get around having to hold down the goddamn D-pad when you run and like break up your thumbs. So it's like those are really popular. I'm like, what's it taking for you guys to just add these? He's like, you're actually not the first to come up and tell me that.
Well, I got a question. Do you guys even use the game controller pad anymore? Because
Are you all
For
COD?
COD?
I'll connect all the time.
No, he's a keyboard and mouse, right?
No. For COD or for all the games?
For COD.
For COD, no. I've just been using the Zim.
Okay.
For all the other games, I use.
And the Zim is the mouse and
mouse keyboard connection. Yeah. Which should be interesting. Actually, I'm gonna have to look up on their site to see
what they support.
It might. Yeah, I'm guessing it might not work on the Xbox One. Maybe it will. Maybe he'll do an update, like a flat.
Yeah.
The guy's really adamant about keeping up with that. So,
but
who knows?
Xbox One doesn't use the same. Oh, is it? It's not wireless. It's plugged in.
That's the issue. It's wired. You have to use a wired controller.
I'm sure that guy is salivating at the thought of
what?
selling a whole new.
The wired controller actually plugs into the Zim interface.
Oh, you're talking about for the Zim.
Yeah,
for the Zim. I was like, what?
We also played a game called Loco Cycle. Wasn't that what it was
Yeah.
called?
Yeah. Loco Cycle.
I'm very excited about that.
That actually was with the one, and that had a controller and it had an Xbox One.
Is that like an Excitebike?
Here's the thing. I don't know. I didn't know anything about it, and we went into it and played it. There was not a big line there, and so I wanted to play a real game with the controller. And I just don't think it didn't seem like the person had really taken advantage of all the vibrating motors and stuff. And I also didn't quite get the game.
So
that was the biggest thing.
It was
didn't understand.
Well, it's like an E3 game where you don't look at the controls; you just want to play.
How do you motorcycle?
No. So I think Loco Cycle Car is going to be some crazy motorcycle game, which it is. But what we stumbled into was I walk up to this guy and there is a motorcycle that there's a human being dragged off of it on the ground, and its foot is connected to the exhaust pipe, and he's just dragged on his back.
Yeah.
And he's steering.
That's the game.
And he's steering this.
You're there the whole time.
And I'm like, oh, he must have.
No, seriously,
he must have,
it's
I said,
retarded.
oh, he must have fallen off. I'll just restart, and I won't have to deal with that. And I restart with my guy on his back with his foot connected to the exhaust pipe, and you're just steering this like robot motorcycle by itself.
That sounds a little broken.
But it's kind of combat driven too. Like there's guys who come in to attack, and you can do move whatever. The game wasn't exciting. How's that? We did see Rise. We just didn't want to wait in line.
Wait, Loco Cycle. So you guys know it's the team that did Explosion Man, Miss Explosion Man, The Maw.
Yeah.
Like Twisted Pixel in Chicago. They do really good games.
I'm sure you're gonna.
Gunstringer.
I'm sure you're gonna come in like on next podcast and tell us we're fucking idiots and it was the best game ever.
I hope so because I was very excited about this game.
Well, I'm gonna try it
down here.
Shitting all over.
One, look at the controls before you play, and it might be way funner than how our experience was. But we saw Rise
is Connect only, right?
No.
I had control.
Okay.
Like every
In
other,
fact,
and Josh can attest.
We didn't see Connect.
We like most E3s didn't wait in any lines. Had we though, we could have played Rise. Rise is there, playable, and we watched that for a bit. It was pretty cool.
The thing I wanted to say about Rise was, if you watch the Microsoft press briefing, I'm always super skeptical about what they showing on stage. Real is that real gameplay? And in the case of Rise, 100% yes. What I was seeing on the screen that people were getting a chance to play was pretty much exactly what I saw from the briefing. So
plus, it's spelled really funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the graphics on that are
no, the graphics are out of control.
You know what looked unbelievable
beautiful
to me was Dead Rising 3. At least in the press conference. Dear God, that looks good.
Don't they have another one like something Living Dead or Dead something?
Yeah, there's
some
another
other
one.
first-person one.
Yeah, there is another one coming. That's
it's the same company.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. That murdered one looks interesting. Is that coming out before?
Oh, was that scary ass one we were looking at? We're like, okay, that looks gross as hell.
Evil Within. That's what.
Oh, is it?
That's from the creator of Resident Evil.
Okay, I'm thinking of Murdered. It was the one where you like start out and you die, and then you're a ghost
trailer,
trying to figure out who killed you.
I remember that
saw
Lindsay
the
Lohan
trailer.
movie.
Oh, yeah,
I know who killed me.
Saw the trailer.
It's like my favorite movie with Patrick Swayze. The clay pots.
I don't know.
Are we still recording?
I don't know. It was.
I gotta go.
It was fun. I just didn't want to. I mean, mostly like all the other ones. We just didn't wait in line. There was games we could have played if we had just waited to play. We just
Admit it. It was the ones with the most booth babes, right?
Jack had an interesting observation today about booth babes.
They were all dudes.
They're Asian.
They're all Asian.
No, that was your observation. You asked me. You go, why are they all Asian? I'm like,
Car shows and game shows.
They
make a lot of money.
A large majority of them.
I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before,
How
but
much?
I bumped into a girl that I went to high school
That's
with.
an interesting way of saying it.
I bumped into a girl I went to high school with. She was a booth babe. I was at E3 covering it for this like rink-a-dink online publication. It was actually a cool online publication, but like nobody really read it. And I was covering it. I was in college, and awkwardly, the head of Nokia, because this was a big Nokia booth back in the days of like non-smartphones. And he's like, take a picture, go take a picture with these girls. And I'm like, no, like it's getting kind of creepy. You're shoving me into them. And I like look over and I'm like, hey, we went to high school together. And she's like, Sean, right? And I stand next to her and I have to take this awkward picture with my arm around her and like two other girls in like short shorts and like a deep tank top.
Did you hover hand?
No, I put it there. And then
Yeah,
she turned to me and she's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, working. What about you? And she just went, working. But they end up, I think they make something like $75 an hour or something. They make something stupid.
They make good money.
They make
Yeah.
good money
That's
doing
when
that.
They make
the
in an
higher-end
hour what the
escort
cast
kind.
of Human Centipede 3 makes in a day.
Wow.
And no ATM.
I'd do an hour of both.
You get me in a bikini for $70 an hour.
I'll do it for 60. I'll do it for 65.
No, you don't have to pay that.
Don't you undercut me?
No one wants
I'll wear a
it, but-
thong. I'll wear a thong.
45.
But what did you guys think of the Nintendo booth? I imagine you spent a lot of time
What's
there.
Nintendo?
I always.
We played Planes. No, we did.
Oh, you did go to Nintendo
We had
booth. Okay.
Pecco with us. How can you not go to? How can you not go to Nintendo?
And with two Zeldas there, of course, Peck was there.
And Mega Man.
We.
Oh, Mega Man.
Pecco got a picture with Mega Man.
Here's the thing I have to say about
Was
Nintendo's
it the red Mega Man or the
their
blue
booth,
Mega Man?
whether it's the demand or just the size of their booth, you can always play a game. Like we never really wait in lines to play games at E3. You can always play a game at Nintendo. There's never really a long line for any of their games. Like I don't know if it's just hey they've got a billion places to.
It's because nobody wants to play that.
Well, they do. They have a lot of kiosks. There's no doubt. They have a lot of
and
kiosks.
it's the different audience. I think
Yeah,
E3 is not a
completely.
Nintendo audience.
And they had a huge line like last year for the 3DS, and everybody
Exactly.
was waiting in line for that. Nobody cared about the actual playing the Wii U games of a console that wasn't exciting, and then
And the Wii, I remember the year the Wii was announced, they had a line that by the last day was 6 hours and wrapped around the entire hall. So like they'll
To
get
see
it
it in a
when
case.
they get it. Yeah, it was like
Like
unbelievable.
Lennon.
I thought the Nintendo booth was great, super fun.
How are the booth babes?
Fine.
Asian.
We had an interesting observation about we played. This is another sort of side note, but we got a chance to play the NVIDIA Shield,
Oh yeah, that was cool.
which is the NVIDIA.
Is that the new
handheld-
NVIDIA control panel? Do you want 1080p or 1062?
It's the
You have 3 seconds to choose.
It's their handheld device, and it was great, really responsive, really nice, really liked it.
Pretty heavy.
Heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And we
like-
compared that with the Wii U,
which is the lightest thing on earth.
which is
Oh my god,
really
dude, that
light.
thing that literally weight.
There's nothing
The
in it.
shield's doubled weight, maybe
Yeah.
even more than that.
Well, because the Wii U gamepad, it literally has nothing in it. Everything's being done on the Wii, and all the Wii U is a screen and a little Wi-Fi adapter to catch. So what happens is you press a button on the Wii U gamepad, it sends that digitally over the air to the Wii U console. Then the Wii U console interprets that as a button press, takes a video of what you did, and sends that video feed back to your gamepad. Like that's how
Seriously?
fucking
so there's
weird
really
it is.
nothing in it.
There's literally nothing in
But
it.
the
Can't
real
you play
question
games
is-
on it by itself, like without the
Yeah,
Wii
you
on?
have to be. You can be like 20 feet away from the console.
Oh, so you can't. Oh, I didn't know that. You can't just walk. I can't take it in the car and play.
Oh no, you got to leave it plugged
Oh,
in.
that thing is weak sauce. I thought. Well, I mean, I was.
But you
never
know what they're
gonna buy
doing
it.
in Japan is people in Japan, I guess, are going in and plugging in the Wii U console on subways they have like outlets, and people are plugging in the console because all you need to do, you don't need an HDMI. You just need to literally plug in the power to the console, keep the console powered next to you, and then you pull up the gamepad and you can play all your games.
Why don't you just bring like one of those C&I dogs with you with the Wii U attached to that?
Yeah. And when it walks, it builds power.
Plug it in his ass.
Do you know how dogs work?
Yeah, you plug them into the wall, right?
I could see Chunk with a Wii U stuck to his side. He'd be fine with that, I'm sure.
He'd have no problem.
No, so but the Vita, you can do that. Which is the shit. Now that I'm hearing the differences, that sort of makes that device
and it's
a
called
little
the
cooler.
Shield.
Well, that's Nvidia's Android.
Okay, well maybe they should their sell point be we could stop a bullet, and then they like shoot the Wii U and it like just shatters and then a guy dies.
And a guy dies. Yeah. The guy holding it's dead.
Shield by the shield, or you'll die.
We'll save your life.
Michael Chiklis is the
By the way, if you're listening,
spokesman.
If you're listening in NVIDIA, you can hire me for your marketing team.
Pete Upson.
Pete Upson.
At 510.
$70 an hour. Yeah. I will come in a thought.
But yes, E3 was blessed. The other thing I really did want to talk about, I'm not saying this because you're here, I was pretty impressed by Infinity, by Disney's
really good.
Infinity.
The car or the planet?
Both of them.
Yeah.
I think that
Infinity's a planet?
The infinicy of
number.
What? Okay.
That's what I was getting at.
It looks like a lot of fun. It's a little bit pricey, you know. We talked about it in the show. It's $75.
I was in the sun
But like,
you get,
really, $75 is pricey. That's only $15
No,
more than a
it's
normal
pricey,
game.
That's
but
one
they
hour-
know
1
going
hour
in
on
you're
its
going to
phone.
buy more characters in the original.
Oh, that's
we
what
joked.
that
We
is.
talked about this. By the time you probably leave the store with your kid, I was guessing $100. Easy.
Well, you know the problem is your kids are too goddamn greedy. $75.
Well, I'm coming to Uncle. I'm coming to
Uncle.
Uncle Kearney to get my
Oh
character.
God! You come near me with your daughter, and my wife's just gonna buy her everything. I don't need that garbage. Same goes for Carter's son. Ugh, it's over.
yeah, he said Kearney the other day was his first word.
Yeah.
Buy me something.
Exactly.
What is the Infinity, by the way? What is it?
It's kind of like Skylanders. Have you heard about Skylanders at all?
Fuck no.
Okay. It's
I'm 38 years old.
Reckon you get your ass kicked talking like that.
That's the point.
This is when like all your listeners just like slam down the fuck this show. Fuck that guy.
Bullshit.
Sorry, listeners. I love video games. And I love Skylanders.
I love that. Whatever it is, I love it.
so Skylanders was an experiment that Activision did.
Is it like dog?
Is it like what?
Whatever, go on.
So it was an experiment where you could go to any retail store and buy these little toys, and there was a game disc and a special controller that would plug in via like USB to a console.
Is it Pokemon?
It's
Close.
Actually, it drew a lot of influence from Pokemon, but you could take a character and put it on this like special portal thingy, and the
Also like a
console
Teddy
would-
Ruxpin.
Yeah, it's closer to that. We're getting somewhere.
Well, Pete, we're gonna get him to understand this eventually.
So you put a character on it, and that character then shows up on screen in the game world.
Okay, I got you.
And
It's
then if
Rob the Robot.
And then if you
All
take
right.
that character away and put a different one down, the character swaps out on screen. So this is Disney's version of it. The Skylanders ended up being a gigantic commercial success for
Yeah, it's
Activision.
huge.
How do you know that?
Because if you listen to the Activision podcast,
Don't you plug anybody else.
Game of one of
Tell
Swords.
Peep to stop setting these up.
Game of Thrones.
One of Swords is the user. I forget his name. He's the host of the Activision podcast. Anyways, he goes over the data about how successful it is. But this is Disney's answer to
My face. Egg on my face.
This is Disney's answer to that, and they see.
And Minecraft too. It's got
so-
a lot of Minecrafty, Little Big Planet. And
Can you buy like
Yeah.
Disney characters then? Or
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So when you get the game, it's the
a
toy
good
box
idea.
mode, and then you get Captain Jack Sparrow, Sully from Monsters Incorporated, and Mr. Incredible.
I think I saw the. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
And
But they're like toys.
and
you
each
get, like,
one, each toy, each character comes with its own world and about 6 to 8 hours of gameplay.
Huh.
But that's just each character, and then there's this whole other part of Infinity, which is what they're really advertising heavily, which is called
the Jessica Rabbit one that I can buy. Can I get that one?
It's the Cool World. It's called Toy Box Mode, and it's basically a virtual mashup of every possible Disney property you've ever thought of. So you can have Mr. Incredible riding Stitch's surfboard, and you can have
Dream come true.
You can have Davy Jones with Buzz Lightyear's jetpack and wings on. And so you can like mix and match all these different assets and elements from all these different Disney properties together, and it's a very sandboxy, playgroundy, open world kind of thing.
Sean has definitely found, though, the most fun you could have in this mode.
Yeah,
I heard about this
I know a couple people who work on the game, and so they invited me. They've got a killer office in our building where they've got a setup where you go in this room, and it's got all the little kiosks, what they're going to have at like Best Buys and Walmarts, where it's like got a bunch of the toys are like there like on an actual like rack, and then they have a TV that's got a console that's playing the game, and then they also just have a big screen TV with the game. They have some couches. They have a mini fridge with beers. It was awesome, by the way. And so I think it's that kick-ass mentality, which is why the game's so good. If anyone from my company's listening, just give me some more alcohol at work. But anyway, so they did like a little like happy hour thing with like, hey, do you want to come down, like have a drink and play the game? And so I went with one of our project managers, or product managers, sorry, on our game. We sat down and played it, and it was cool. We played the Monsters U thing for a while, which was super fun. Lots of like competitive little challenges, and then like, well, let's jump into Toy Box mode.
You put Cinderella's head on Gaston's body.
Exactly. I mean, right? Who wouldn't? But no, so I jumped into this world, and it is pretty much made like it's for griefers at a certain point, or it's like it's so good for them. Like it's so perfect. And I love griefing. And so Jansen, our PM's running around as the little kid, the fast kid from Incredibles, Dash. And I'm Mike Wazowski, and I'm just going into like the sort of God mode where you can spawn things, and I'm just spawning cars and just dropping them on him. Just over and over. And he's like running around, and like he's built all these little platforms, and he's jumping on them, and he's spawning bad guys, and he's fighting the bad guys, and I'm just coming up as he's doing this. He's playing a whole game. He's having a great time.
What character allows you to drop cars on people?
It's so you can like become like a god, where you just like shoop, and then you see the world from like a top-down view. And I just was like flying over his head and dropping a car on him, and then people were like, "Oh, you can do other things." I was like, "No, I'm cool. I'm just gonna keep dropping these cars." And finally, they said, "Well, we have explosive boxes." And I went, "Okay, now you got me. Where are those?" So they showed me the explosive boxes, and as Jansen's running around, I started enclosing him in just like walls of explosive boxes, and I got it to a pretty like probably 10 times his height, and just enough room where he could like move 2 steps in any direction. And everybody on the team now like stops and starts looking at the TV, because apparently nobody has put this many explosive boxes in the game before. And the game's like still beta or something. Like it's a month off.
Oh, they have no idea what the hell's about to happen.
I think you're going to crash the game. Like there's a memory meter on the left that's just a little bar that gets filled up, and they have some metaphor for it. But basically it's like at a certain point, like any game, you can drop too many things in the world and you fill up all the memory. And I've gotten that memory meter pretty close now with these explosive boxes. And so finally, like, I flipped out and was like, all right, do it. And Jansen did, like, one little punch move, and just, like, nuclear war happened. And just all these explosive boxes went off. And I just literally put down the controller right there and said, all right, I'll buy this. It sounds like fun.
Did it kill it?
It didn't. No, the game survived that.
It didn't even slow down or anything?
It took. I mean, I think there was a little slowing in the frame rate, but I mean, nothing that like could have. It wasn't. The one thing I'll say, the one negative of it was 35 or 50 explosions, not one big exponentially larger explosion. But still, 50 explosions was pretty fucking cool.
I think the game's going to be really interesting for kids.
Yeah.
Because we played it, and it was. Not
for 40-year-olds.
No. I was going to say it's not actually super childish. I really like the environments and the fun. But
it's very
safe
accessible.
Enough.
It's like a Lego game. I think like the gameplay.
Well said.
It's like the gameplay's a lot like Lego games in the play sets, and the play sets to me are infinitely more fun. I didn't mean to do that. Infinite.
Are the play sets the individual?
The little things that you get. Like, so there's the difference, the characters. If you buy, like, a character and you put him on the little pedestal, a character gets you that character in the toy box mode. But if you buy a play set, that gets you, like, a whole little game. That's like a little, like, 3-hour experience. And the experiences, you can only play as the characters from that property. So it's like, I think the game ships with, like, the Monsters U experience. I think there's a Pirates, and then I think there's a Lone Ranger coming.
I wonder which one Jake
showed
showed.
Okay,
him.
thank God.
They showed him today.
As
They
I
showed
said
him.
that, I was like, oh my God, I'm in so much trouble if that one's not announced.
Yeah, no, they showed it today.
Yep.
Well,
I
they
got
showed the
a
characters.
question.
They showed the characters.
Is Big Thunder being remodeled for Lone Ranger?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I don't think so. I think it's just broken.
I got another question that just popped into my head before I came over here. Do you think Jango Fett was named after Django?
They're spelled
D
differently.
is silent.
So no.
Do you think maybe?
Is that what you were
You think
thinking?
Lucas was? No?
Well, Lucas
Does he have a time machine?
Think about that.
no
Think
relationship
about that.
whatsoever with Quentin Tarantino.
That's what you call a way
so-
homer, because you get it on the way home.
But anyways, the one thing I'd say about the play sets is, at least from the little bit that I played, they were a lot closer to Lego than to Little Big Planets. Like, just normal play the levels, not make the levels experience. And I think they're better. I think that all in all, the game to me seemed a lot. The just normal, I'm never going to make a level gameplay was much better in this game than it ever was in Little Big Planet, which Little Big Planet was super cool when you were making shit. When you were just playing their levels, it was like the controls were weird. The game was kind of 2D, but it kind of had depth too, which made no sense. Like, I think it's going to be a good one, actually. I think it's going to be really good.
When is that released? You know?
August, I want to say. It's in the summer sometime. So
Is that 360?
It's crazy because it's 360, PS3, and Wii U and Wii.
Not the shield.
And iPhone.
Not Shield. And there's an iPhone iPad component
And
thing.
then there's a PC version coming.
Yeah.
That's what we
Are
were
they going to
told
do
today.
a Xbox One and PS4?
I
later on?
don't know.
There's a couple other things we wanted to just mention real quick. Won't go into lots of detail, but Mirror's Edge 2.
I'm
was
beyond
announced.
excited.
I like that game.
Yeah.
See, that's another one where I get into this
I'm-
minute. Like that's
Yeah.
original and different.
Yeah.
Not for you. Graphics.
I tried it.
graphics
I
look
tried it.
way, graphics look way better.
I
in this
love
one.
that game so much. My boss was having a discussion with somebody about like a really serious meeting, and I knew that he was a fan of that game, and I straight up interrupted his meeting, put my hands on his shoulders, and went, "They did it. They announced Mirror's Edge 2." And then I just walked away. He didn't even react. He didn't even look at me. And then after he was done, he came over. He said, "All right, what were you talking about?" I'm like, "Mirror's Edge 2. We've come full circle."
Another thing, we've been gigantic fans on this show of the Telltale's Walking Dead.
Yeah, doing another one.
They're doing DLC.
Nice.
So it's another episode, is what it says. It's 5 different stories.
Yeah.
But it's one more episode.
How many seasons did they do? Because I'm on season 2 right now.
This is the.
They just did the.
They only have
The game
one.
or the TV show?
We're talking about the game.
The
They,
game.
they only have one. Season
They have one
of that.
season, and it was like 5 episodes.
Oh, 5 of okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the second episode then.
Yes, there's
Okay.
5 of them. Yeah. So they announced that's coming in July.
And that's the 6th. So now there will
So
be
there's gonna be
6.
6 episodes.
Because
for
there's going to be
season
one that bridges to season 2.
Cool.
And then the other thing too that was announced that Jack and I got to see a little bit more about it today was Project Spark, which I thought was worth mentioning.
Super neat.
Which
That
is
was pretty cool,
Microsoft's answer to Little Big Planet.
Yeah,
It's
and
kinda-
Minecraft.
Yeah, and it was really fascinating. It's a way that you can like very quickly create a terrain and then have that be mountains or
world,
tundra
I mean,
or
pretty much.
or it's Arctic or woodland, and then you get this bit of geometry that's kind of been like you've kind of procedurally made it through your commands and modifying it, and then you can take a controller or smart glass and you can carve out like rivers and add mountains, and you can like add to the geometry. You can change the height map, which I thought was really, really fascinating. And then from there, I got a little bit confusing, but it sounds like, don't quote me on this, but it sounds like you can have scripts that have been created by users and add them to objects in the world. So there was this pet script that someone had written, and they applied it to a rock in the world, and all of a sudden this rock now hops around and follows you.
That's really cool.
And so,
Pet rock.
and they made it
Finally.
seem like
Thank goodness.
they made it seem like the script they were going to have users be able to create these little scripts and behaviors. So it's going to be a really friendly, easy scripting language, and then you could trade.
I'm actually looking for something to like teach my daughter how to program.
So this could be interesting.
Well, if you want to, once she's in college and this thing actually fucking comes out, because that's the one thing. I don't think this game is ever coming out.
Really? Has it been in development forever?
I just like when you look at it, it's a perfect E3 demo. It's a perfect, use the Kinect, it uses Smart Glass, it uses the Xbox controller, it uses every single thing on Earth. It's super cool. One, it has the name Project in front of it, which reminds me of Project Milo, never going to come out, which reminds me of all those
whatever
cool things
fucking
to
happened
show.
with that thing.
And he left the company.
Well, no, I think there's also just, it seems really cool
it's
to
just
demo.
A test.
I think there's only two ways that's going to go. One is it's going to be half-assed when they release it, and they're just going to go, well, we couldn't put all the features in, so now it's just a thing where you make a world and then you, watch it. It's an ant farm or something. Or it's never going to come out. And they didn't really say a developer for it, which made me go, is anybody making it?
It's internal. It's Microsoft.
It's Microsoft, which made, to me, it just felt like it's a tech demo that's never going to be released that was solely to show you, hey, we're doing cool stuff. Which I'm all for, but I don't think it's ever going to come out.
Very cool. When you guys go, make sure you get your impressions, write them down, commit them to memory so we can talk more next week.
And get a Skylanders toy. I told these guys they totally missed out.
Yeah, if you
Activate at the Activision booth.
I love Skylanders.
I know. You will if you get one of these toys at the Activision booth. I guess you can win a Skylanders toy. And as of right now, it's worth $400 on eBay.
Oh, shit. I could get into Skylanders.
Yeah, see?
Exactly.
Get a Skylanders toy, everybody. But don't take mine.
Don't have to wash my
I got to pay rent this month.
Anything else to add, gentlemen?
No.
Pete?
I'd plug my YouTube channel, but
do it.
Nah.
Plug it. Plug it.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to associate
You've
my real personality with my YouTube channel.
You have
Which one? The Drunk and the Pwned?
Oh, see now you did.
Oh,
You have been successful.
No,
You've been paid.
You have.
I made $300.
Whoa.
That's
That's like the
That's
cost of one Skylanders.
YouTube money.
There you go. It's
YouTube
almost
monies.
one- yeah. So I bought some shoes for my daughter.
oh.
Off
Not
a
even for yourself.
stupid mashup video of a guy in an elevator dancing. No, I don't have anything to plug.
And by that, we're talking about Psy.
Yeah, tell me what you're responsible for, Pete, and what made you all that $300.
No, I'm not. We're done. Moving on. What do you got to plug?
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Nerdtastic in 3D, episode number 67. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jason Carter.
I'm Jack Deckler.
I'm Pete Upson.
I'm Josh Brock.
I'm Jason Pecco. I'm Sean Kearney.
Adam McFarlane.
And thank you so much for listening. Tune in next week and give some more thoughts on E3. And have a good week.
P.
Nerdtastic.